In front of a stunned Washington crowd, Ivanka Trump stormed the stage and unleashed a brutal attack on Barack Obama, calling him the man who destroyed America. Only for Obama to smile calmly, flip the script, and drop the ultimate bombshell that left Ivanka's face ghost white. The dark Epstein Island secrets involving her own father, the disgusting comments he made about her, and the undeniable proof that she had been right there in the middle of it all. Tonight's event was billed as Leadership in America, a Conversation on Policy and Principle. It was supposed to be a high-level public forum where former President Barack Obama and Ivanka Trump would discuss the future of the country in a civilized, respectful way. The organizers had promised thoughtful debate and insightful exchange. But from the very first minute, everyone in the room could tell this was not going to be a normal conversation. Ivanka Trump walked straight onto the stage without wasting a second on greetings. She didn't smile, didn't wave, didn't even say hello. She looked Barack Obama dead in the eyes and fired her first shot. "Leaders like you made America suffer," she said, her voice sharp and loud enough to cut through the room. "You weakened this country while everyday people paid the price. That's the truth." The audience went dead quiet. Some people leaned forward in their seats. Everyone could feel the air get heavier in a split second. Obama sat there for a moment, then gave a small, calm smile. He didn't look angry or surprised. He just looked like a man who had heard this kind of attack before. Then he spoke. His voice was steady and clear, almost relaxed. "That's fair to ask," he said. "But tell me this. What new project are you pushing right now to help everyday Americans? Because I'm still waiting to hear one." The question hit like a clean counterpunch. Ivanka's face turned red almost instantly. The anger flashed in her eyes. She wasn't expecting him to flip the script that fast. She stepped closer to the microphone, her hands gripping it tight. "Only real Americans get to ask that question," she shot back, her tone dripping with challenge. "People who actually care about this country." A few people in the crowd gasped. Others whispered to the person next to them. Ivanka wasn't done. She raised her voice even higher and pulled out her first piece of evidence. She started reading cold numbers about deportations that happened during Obama's time in office. Her voice was hard as steel. "Under your watch, thousands of people were removed every single day," she said, pointing her finger toward Obama. "Families torn apart, lives destroyed. And you want to talk about helping everyday Americans? Give me a break." The room got even quieter. Some heads nodded. Others looked uncomfortable. The numbers sounded bad when she said them like that. Obama didn't flinch. He didn't interrupt her while she was speaking. He waited until she finished, then leaned forward slightly and looked her straight in the eyes. "What kind of leader sets daily targets to kick out their own people without even hearing them out?" he asked. His voice stayed calm, but every word carried real weight. "That's not strength. That's cruelty, dressed up as policy." The entire hall seemed to freeze. No one shifted in their seat. In the third row, a veteran reporter quietly hit record on his phone. He whispered to the person beside him, "This is getting good. She came for blood, but he's not backing down." Ivanka's cheeks burned even redder. She opened her mouth to hit back, but she looked like she was struggling to find the right words. Ivanka wasn't about to let Obama have the last word. Her face was still flushed from the last exchange, but she doubled down hard. She leaned into the microphone, eyes locked on him, and dropped a bomb that made the whole room suck in a breath. "You and Jasmine Crockett," she said, her voice loud and cold. "We'll deport both of you soon enough. That's how we fix this country." Gasps rippled through the crowd. A few people actually stood up in shock. This wasn't policy talk anymore. This was personal, and it felt dirty. Reporters started scribbling furiously. Phones came out everywhere. Obama stayed seated for a second, then slowly rose to his feet. His expression didn't change much, but his voice got sharper, more serious. You could hear the steel underneath the calm. "If people like you call me un-American, that doesn't make it so," he said. "I bled and sweated for this country for 8 years. I fought every day to make it better for everybody, not just the ones who look like you or vote like you." The hall went quiet again. Some people nodded, others looked uneasy. Obama's words landed heavy because they felt real. He wasn't yelling, he didn't need to. But Ivanka was already moving. She turned toward the side of the stage and waved her hand sharply. "Bring him up," she ordered. A moment later, a middle-aged man in a dark suit walked onto the stage. She introduced him quickly as a former immigration official who had worked under Obama. "Tell them," Ivanka said, pointing at the man. "Tell everyone how Obama ordered mass deportations every single day. No hearings, no mercy. Just numbers on a spreadsheet." The former official cleared his throat and started speaking. He listed cold statistics, talking about record deportation numbers, families separated at the border, and policies that treated people like quotas. His voice was steady, and he kept glancing at Obama as he spoke. Ivanka stood beside him with her arms crossed, looking satisfied, like she had just scored a knockout punch. The crowd murmured. A few people whispered, "He's right." Others looked angry. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut with a knife. Obama didn't interrupt once. He let the man finish every point. When the former official finally stepped back, Obama walked slowly to the center of the stage. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a single sheet of paper. A printed copy of an official government report. "I respect your right to speak," Obama said, looking first at the witness, then straight at Ivanka. "But let's get the full picture. This report, which I signed myself, shows exactly what we did. We stopped hundreds of inhumane deportations. We protected dreamers. We focused on serious criminals, not splitting up families for sport." He held the paper up so the cameras could see it clearly. "These aren't opinions. These are the numbers we actually changed, the ones that mattered." Ivanka's eyes narrowed. She tried to cut in immediately, stepping forward and raising her voice. "That's not..." Obama lifted his hand, stopping her mid-sentence without raising his voice. His eyes were steady, and his next question came out clean and sharp, like a blade. "Since when does a leader celebrate tearing families apart as a daily quota?" he asked. "Tell me, Ivanka, when did that become something to brag about?" The room exploded with noise. Some people clapped. Others shouted in disbelief. A woman in the front row actually covered her mouth. The former immigration official looked uncomfortable now, shifting his weight from foot to foot. Even Ivanka seemed caught off guard. Her mouth opened, but for a split second no words came out. She recovered fast, though. Her face twisted with anger as she pointed directly at Obama. Obama didn't give Ivanka any room to calm down. He stepped forward, his voice steady, but cutting right through the noise in the hall. "Leadership isn't about daily deportation numbers," he said. "It's about listening before you act. It's about treating people like human beings, not check boxes on a spreadsheet." The words hit hard. A lot of people in the audience nodded. You could see the shift. Some were starting to side with the calm guy on stage instead of the angry one throwing punches. Ivanka wasn't having it. Her eyes flashed with pure frustration. She grabbed the microphone tighter and pulled out her phone, waving it like a weapon. "Oh yeah?" she snapped. "Let's talk about real leadership. My father had the guts to say what everyone was thinking." She started reading a loud old tweet from Trump praising the zero-tolerance policy. Her voice got louder with every line, painting Obama as a total hypocrite who talked tough but let the border fall apart. "Zero tolerance worked," she declared, looking straight at the crowd. "It sent a message. Obama, you were all talk and no action. My dad actually protected America." The hall stirred. Some supporters clapped, but others looked uneasy. Bringing up Trump's old tweets felt like she was swinging wild now, trying to drag the fight back to her side. Obama stayed quiet for a second, then nodded to the stage crew. "Let's show everyone what real talk looks like," he said calmly. The big screen behind them suddenly lit up. A short video started playing, clear, sharp, and loud. It was Trump at a public event years ago, joking in that crude way of his about Ivanka. He said things no father should ever say about his own daughter. Comments about her looks, her body, even laughing when someone called her hot, in a way that made the whole room cringe. The audience gasped. Phones shot up to record. The clip wasn't long, but it was brutal. Ivanka's face went pale in an instant. She spun around and lunged toward the control panel at the side of the stage. "Turn that off!" she shouted, reaching for the switch. "Cut it right now!" Before she could touch anything, a stage technician stepped forward, a quiet guy in a black polo shirt who had been running the AV the whole night. He spoke loud enough for the microphones to catch every word. "Ma'am, the video is real," he said firmly. "It's unedited, straight from public archives. No cuts, no tricks. I can show the timestamp and source right here if you want." The technician held up his tablet so the cameras could see the original file info. The crowd murmured louder. Ivanka froze, her hand still halfway to the switch. Her face had gone from red to ghost white in seconds. For the first time, she looked truly shaken. She turned back to the microphone, her voice cracking a little. "That's private family business," she yelled, the words trembling with anger and embarrassment. "You have no right to bring that up here." Obama shook his head slowly, not smiling, not mocking, just serious. He looked her straight in the eyes. "When it shapes public leadership, it stops being private," he replied. His tone was even, but the message landed like a hammer. "If you can't show basic respect at home, how do you expect a whole country to trust you with power?" The hall erupted. Some people clapped hard. Others whispered in shock. The technician quietly stepped back, but his confirmation had sealed it. The video wasn't fake, and everyone knew it now. Ivanka stood there breathing fast, her fists clenched at her sides. Obama let the silence hang for just a second after the video. Then he stepped closer to the microphone, his voice still calm, but carrying a heavier edge now. Everyone in the hall could feel something bigger was coming. "And you?" he said, looking straight at Ivanka. "Everyone knows what went on at Epstein's Island with your dad. You were right there. Barren is the result. And now the reports confirm it all. Read them yourself. Prove them wrong. I'm waiting." The words dropped like a grenade. The entire room went completely silent for a split second, then exploded with shocked gasps and whispers. Cameras flashed wildly. People in the back row stood up to see better. Ivanka's face drained of color so fast it looked like someone had slapped her. She didn't storm off. Not yet. Instead, fury took over. She screamed into the microphone, her voice cracking with rage. "Curse you!" she shouted, the words raw and ugly. "You sick bastard!" But she wasn't done fighting. She lunged toward the center mic, pulling a folded piece of paper from her jacket. An old letter she claimed her father had sent to Epstein years ago. She waved it in the air like a shield. "This is my proof," she yelled, her hands shaking. "My dad wrote this to Epstein, but it proves nothing bad happened. It was just business. You're twisting everything to attack our family." She started reading parts of the letter out loud, trying to spin it as innocent. Her voice was loud and desperate, fighting to take back control. Some people in the crowd leaned forward, curious if she could actually turn this around. Obama didn't interrupt her at first. He waited until she finished a sentence, then calmly raised a thick folder he had on the table beside him. "Let's read the real evidence," he said. He opened the folder and pulled out the latest FBI report that had just been made public. His voice stayed steady as he read directly from it. "Here's what the documents actually say. Trump told Epstein in a recorded conversation, 'Ivanka's the hottest one in the family. She could make any deal she wants. Another part mentions her being on the island multiple times and the kind of parties that went on there. These aren't rumors. These are sworn statements and audio transcripts from the investigation. He read the exact quotes slowly, clearly, so every word hit home. The hall was dead quiet except for his voice and the occasional shocked murmur. Ivanka's face went from red-hot anger to pure white shock. Her shoulders slumped. She looked like she was about to collapse right there on stage in front of everyone. Her eyes were wide, breathing fast and shallow. She suddenly spun toward the third row, pointing at the veteran reporter who had been recording everything since the beginning. "You're all in on this," she screamed at him, her voice breaking. "You and your fake news friends set this up. You're all against us." The reporter stood up slowly, holding his phone up so the whole room could see. He shook his head, calm but firm. "No, ma'am," he said loud enough for the microphones to catch it. "I've been recording this entire exchange from the start. Here's the part where you threatened to deport Obama and Jasmine Crockett just minutes ago. Listen for yourself." He hit play. Ivanka's own voice came blasting through the speakers. "You and Jasmine Crockett? We'll deport both of you soon enough." The crowd reacted instantly. Some booed, some cheered. Many just sat there stunned. Ivanka stood frozen on a stage, completely broken in that moment. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. Ivanka couldn't take it anymore. Her face was pale, her hands were shaking, and the weight of everything that had just come out crushed her. She turned sharply and started storming toward the side exit at the back of the stage. But right before she stepped off, she spun around one last time. Her eyes burned with pure hate as she pointed straight at Obama. "This isn't over," she shouted, her voice cracking, but still loud enough for every camera to catch it. "You'll pay for this." The crowd erupted in a mix of gasps and murmurs. Some people cheered her exit, others booed. Reporters were on their feet, snapping photos like crazy. Ivanka disappeared through the side door, her heels clicking hard down the hallway, leaving a heavy silence behind her. Obama didn't let the moment hang empty for even a second. He stayed right where he was, calm as ever, and raised his hand toward the audience. "Before we move on," he said clearly, "I want to hear from someone who was actually there." He nodded toward a man sitting in the fourth row. The guy stood up slowly, a former staff member who had worked on Epstein's island years ago. He walked up to the stage with steady steps, microphone in hand. The former employee looked straight at the crowd, then at the empty spot where Ivanka had just stood. "I saw her there," he said, his voice low but firm. "I saw Ivanka on the island, multiple times. I saw the photos. I saw who she was with. It wasn't a quick visit. She was part of what went on." The entire hall let out a huge collective, "Oh!" The sound rolled through the room like a wave. People covered their mouths. Others leaned forward, eyes wide. Phones shot up again, recording every word. The confirmation hit like another bomb, right after Ivanka had already stormed out. Obama stood quietly for a moment, letting the man's words sink in deep. Then he stepped back to the main microphone. His voice dropped lower, but it carried even more power. Steady, serious, and final. "What father says things like that about his own daughter?" he asked, the words heavy in the air. "Leadership starts at home. If you can't show basic respect to your own family, you can't stand up and demand respect from an entire nation." The room reacted instantly. Some clapped loudly, others sat in stunned silence. A few shouted in agreement. The contrast was brutal. Ivanka had come in swinging hard, throwing threats and accusations, and now she was gone, while Obama stood tall, dropping truth after truth without ever raising his voice. The former island worker nodded once and stepped back down into the audience. No one tried to stop him. No one questioned him right then. His simple, direct testimony had just added the final nail. Obama didn't celebrate or smile. He simply looked out at the crowd, his expression serious. "That's the difference," he said quietly but clearly. "Real leadership isn't loud. It's honest. And tonight, the truth spoke louder than any threat ever could." The hall buzzed with energy. People were talking over each other, replaying what they had just seen. Obama didn't smile. He didn't pump his fist or celebrate. He simply stood there for a moment, then spoke one last quiet but powerful line into the microphone. "Real power isn't in shouting," he said. "It's in truth that can't be shouted down." Those words landed perfectly. Some people nodded slowly. Others clapped softly at first, then louder. The energy in the room shifted from shock to something deeper. Respect mixed with disbelief at how fast the night had unfolded. But Obama wasn't quite finished. Right before the lights could dim and the event wrapped up, he turned toward the big screen at the back of the stage and nodded to the crew. "One more thing," he said calmly. "Let's end with the latest facts." A well-known senior journalist, the same one who had been recording since the beginning, stood up in the front row. He signaled to the technicians, and the giant screen lit up again with breaking news. A brand new FBI report had just dropped live, minutes earlier. The journalist spoke clearly, his voice echoing through the speakers. "This report was released just now. It includes never-before-heard audio from Epstein's files. In it, Trump is recorded bragging about Ivanka, saying things no father should ever say about his daughter. The exact words are right here." The audio clip played loud and clear over the speakers. Trump's voice filled the hall, crude and boastful, talking about Ivanka in disgusting detail. The crowd lost it. Gasps turned into loud shouts. People stood up all at once. The entire hall rose to their feet in one massive wave. Some clapped, some booed, many just stared in stunned silence. The final piece of evidence hit like a knockout punch. The senior journalist sat back down as the screen faded. No one could deny it anymore. The truth had come out in real time, right in front of everyone. Obama didn't say another word about it. He simply stepped down from the stage, walking slowly through the standing crowd. Thunderous applause followed him the whole way. It wasn't wild cheering. It was deep, respectful clapping that rolled on and on. People reached out to shake his hand as he passed. Cameras flashed nonstop. The former island worker and the veteran reporter both stood and nodded at him with quiet respect. As Obama made his way toward the exit, one final thought crossed his mind, clear and sharp. Character is revealed when the lights are brightest and the truth is ugliest. He didn't say it out loud. He didn't need to. The night had already proven it. The event officially ended, but the hall stayed packed with people talking, arguing, and replaying every moment. Phones were blowing up with videos and clips going viral by the second. What started as a simple challenge had turned into one of the most explosive public confrontations in years. And as the lights finally dimmed, one question hung in the air for everyone who had witnessed it. What do you think? Who really won this battle?